Hello my friends, welcome back. I am Indie Pride, and today Tilea and the Dogs of War will defend the port city of Luccini from a Greenskins invasion. But first, let's do a quick and dirty overview of the mercenaries that will be on the front lines in this 2v2 battle. The Dogs of War are the original regiments of renown, the mercenaries who sell their bloody trade throughout the old world and beyond. For most, their home lies in the war-torn city-states of Tilea, where merchant princes, paymasters, and notorious villains stake out claims in a fragmented nation. Leopolds Leopard Company are one of the most famous regiments, men who guard the Temple of Luccini as fiercely as the leopard who guarded the city's founders millennia ago. The Al-Qatani Fellowship are a mercenary company representing the will of the people, once impoverished and broken men who have risen from despair to protect those who can no longer protect themselves. Braganza's besiegers and the marksmen of Miragliano have a fierce rivalry, both hailing from the same city and both famous for their deadly work with the crossbow. These two regiments are some of the finest shots in the old world and will be an important component of the Tilean defense. Ricco's Republican Guard were founded during a bloody rebellion to overthrow a tyrannical merchant prince, and they quickly became notorious throughout the old world for their vicious and disciplined style of pike warfare. Perazzo's Lost Legion are some of the few humans to ever set foot in Lustria and live to tell about it. Veteran pikemen who fought side by side with the Lizardmen against Luther Harkin's undead pirates. The Knights of Origo are a brotherhood of warrior monks who built a monastery near Araby and brought crusade to the heathens. Vespero's Vendetta have earned a notorious reputation as duelists, assassins, and bodyguards for the merchant princes of Tilea, and only serve those who can afford to pay their exorbitant fees. The Cursed Company of Richter Kruger were once living mercenaries who betrayed a necromancer at the Battle of Wolfenburg, who were cursed to live as the undead for all time. Kruger himself has tried many times to end his eternal torment, but continues to rise after every battle. Mengil Manhide's Manflayers are Dark Elf Corsairs who excel at tracking down and murdering their quarry before skinning them and smearing themselves in the blood of their victims. Al-Mukhtar's Desert Dogs are Arabian Corsairs and Bandits who excel at lightning-quick raids and are exceptional light cavalry. And finally, we have Volan's Venators, considered by many to be among the best cavalrymen in the old world, rivaling or even besting Knights of the Empire or Bretonnia. Now that you have officially met the Dogs of War, let's get on with the siege. Welcome to the Siege of Luccini. This great port city nestled on the southern coast of the Tilean Peninsula is one of the most ancient population centers in the old world. It was built upon the ruins of an ancient elven colony in year 1 of the imperial calendar, some 2,500 years ago. It's been under constant assault from the pirates of Sartosa for generations, and as such, the Tileans have one of the strongest navies in the world to protect their lucrative trade and merchant shipping. Unfortunately, a navy's not going to do them a whole lot of good in this battle, as the Greenskins, while led by Wurrzag the Great Green Prophet and Grimgor Ironhide, has surrounded the city on 3 sides. But that's where the Dogs of War come in for situations like this, where their expertise in mounted, ranged, and infantry combat can turn the tide of any battle. The Knights Encarmine are here as well, clad in a brilliant suit of red plate armor, who champion a secretive 2-sword technique pioneered here in Tilea. They have a powerful bonus versus infantry. Shifting over towards the center of the Tilean defense, Vespero's Vendetta Duelists and Anaconda's Amazons, who are fierce warriors from the dense jungles of Lustria. Rows of Pavis crossbowmen and pikemen behind them as well. And of course, in the back, we have Leopolds Leopard Company, standing guard over the Temple of Luccini. As is their duty, they have a great bonus versus large and are powerful pike warriors. They will be our last line of defense at the Temple of Luccini. At the final hilltop, the last fallback position should this defense go south, we got organ guns, cannons, the marksmen of Miragliano, and the Knights of Origo, some of the best close combat troops in the Dogs of War arsenal, looking awesome in that crimson armor. They will be great once they wade into melee. These choke points are going to be a brutal and difficult affair for both sides, but perhaps Mengil's Manhide's Manflayers, the despicable group of Dark Elf headhunters known for flaying their victims alive and armed with repeater crossbows, will be enough to turn the tide. You can see the overview of the map right here. Greenskins are attacking from 4 different sides, 4 different choke points for the Tilean defenders and the Dogs of War mercenaries, and let's get into the battle. At this choke point, already positioned to reap some souls, we've got organ guns, beautiful firing angle for them, complete wet dream for these dwarven mercenaries. They're going to be forced to push through this choke point, and as expected, goblins and giants and trolls are going to get shredded by the powerful Orkan guns as they close the gap here. They're going to have to get their asses moving, or they're going to take way too many losses in each of these choke points. We've got some regular trolls, we've got goblins, we've got a giant backing them up, and we've got some orc boys in there as well. And yes, this is exactly what you want to see from your organ guns. We're going to shift over to each side of the defense and quickly get an overview of everything that's going on. I have cannons firing in, Al-Mukhtar's desert dogs hidden in ambush stance, ready to avenge or murder any of these greenskins who get too close. And we've got the orc boys and the big guns moving up on this side as well. Cannons firing in, mortars from above, raining fire from the skies, and the savage orcs will be looking to close the gap very quickly, or these mortars are going to reap a terrible toll on them as well. Cannons scything through these front formations. The greenskins are going to want to get moving real quick, or things are going to get bad for them. So we've got a pretty powerful defense set up for them. We've got the Cursed Company of Richter Kruger right here. You can see Kruger himself ready to cause fear. They'll be very nice once they get mixed into melee, and of course they are unbreakable like undead troops are. Dwarfen mercenaries at the choke points, and the shield bearers, Tilean mercenaries who are using dwarf equipment. So a lot of really cool units that you guys probably haven't seen before. This is why I was very excited to bring you this battle, because there are just a lot of units and a lot of variety on the field. Dogs of War have not gotten a lot of love in Total War Warhammer, obviously, because they haven't come out yet. Hoping that they will be added at some point, but they have so much flavor, so much variety. They're just a ton of fun to use, and I'll link the mods that I'm using in the description below. But the Giants and the Greenskins are moving up now. We've got Mengil's Manhide Manflayers firing into the Trolls. We've got Pavis Crossmen firing into the Orc Boys, doing a lot of damage to the Giant as well. Pike line not going to hold for too long here, because they are surrounded, and one of them is going to get picked up, get his head bitten off by a Giant. Not a fun way to go. Slammed into the ground, and the pike line looks about ready to break. But we have a couple more melee units ready to go in there as well. Ricco's Republican Guard and the Knights Encarmine standing ready to reinforce. Another line of pikemen here, and yeah, we've got the Mengil's Manhide Manflayers. Need to pull them out. They have a lot of poison attacks. They can do poison damage from range, and they can do poison damage in melee. Incredibly good stats, but low in number and a relatively low HP pool. And over here you can see some more trolls cycling through the gates, getting through the breaches into Luccini itself, and getting ready to engage our defenders near the Temple of Luccini. Shifting over to Admiral Thrawn's side, the Greenskins are pushing over very hard here. We've got more of Mengil's Manhide Manflayers firing in with those repeater crossbows into the Ragnarok and the Giant. And we've got some Pistoliers firing in as well. Taking out that Arachnarok Spider going to be very difficult because of that high armor value. Oh, just sending a bunch of Vesperos Vendettas flying. And the Shield Bearers are holding the line very well here. And the Arachnarok is already starting to break. Lots of range fire pouring in. Very good for the Tilean defenders. Getting the Arachnarok off the field early on. It will come back, of course, and cycle back into combat. But nice to get it away from the defenders for now. A bunch of greenskin archers in the background firing in, and the orc boys and big guns deep into melee. Bunch of cavalry, Al-Mukhtar's desert dogs and other dogs of war mercenaries ready to cycle in. The cavalry will be held in reserve until they are needed. Won't be needed in the choke points because that's not really where cavalry thrive. Paymaster's bodyguard ready to receive the charge of some savage orcs, standing, holding the line here. That's an awesome sight. Savage orcs pouring through the breach, and range firepower getting sent into the mix as well. Whoa, man, those were some nice mortar shots. And looks like Fists of Gork going off to buff up the savage orcs, but they are going to break. And in these choke points, the Greenskins are going to be very susceptible to chain routing. But the Merchant Prince is running away on this side, leaving his defenders to die. And Mengil's Manhide Manflayers with the Glaives are now stuck in combat with some Night Goblins and the Giant. And this is not where they want to be. Oh man, that was brutal. This is really not the engagement they want to be. They're going to get breathed down their neck and just explode from the Giant's breath there. That's an awesome sight. And the Trolls charging in as well. Ricco's Republican Guard holding the line here. I believe they do have a bonus for Large, so they should do good against Trolls, especially with the Pavis Crossmen firing in as well. But that is going to be a tough, brutal fight. One of them getting picked up, slammed into the ground over and over again. Oh man, Ricco's Republican Guard are going to have a tough time here, but they are doing a good job versus the Trolls for now. Orc Shaman moving behind the Greenskin lines, And in the center, more orc boys and trolls have made it in. Anaconda's Amazon stuck in melee. Doing well here. Should be able to deal with Night Goblins very easily. And you don't get to see this very often. Lustrian defenders, mercenaries, all the way from across the world in combat, decapitating these Night Goblins with ease. They're a lot of fun to watch. Very obviously war dancers for right now. I would really like it if we could import models into Total War Warhammer. That would make modding so much easier. Of course, it'd also deal with some intellectual property problems, but who cares about those, right? The Leopolds Leopard Company in the shadow of the temple, holding the line here, backed up by the Templar of Myrmidia, just to give them that encourage aura. They're doing very well, and yes, a lot more cavalry in reserve, cannons still firing in. It looks like on this side is where the Chileans are really doing great. Greenskins, Black Orcs, and the Savage Orcs getting pushed back, but now the Cursed Company of Richter Kruger has made it into melee as well. They are not going to be able to beat Black Orcs in melee. They will, of course, eventually reincarnate, even if they do lose this battle, but for now, getting their ass kicked by Black Orcs. This absolutely gorgeous map is made by Ulrich Lothbrok, by the way. Again, link will be in the description. Definitely recommend you check out his work. He's made an awesome city here. I really enjoy it. And a lot of open space for cavalry attacks like the one I'm doing now. My noble retinue slaughtering some orc boys, and I just like these ones that mix kind of cool monuments and choke points with more open space, allow you to actually micro cavalry and flank and stuff like that. See my Leopards Company moving into melee. Not sure why those Rusty Heirs are in combat, or the Night Goblin Archers are in combat, but they are going to rout. Goblins getting slaughtered here, backing up, and the Leopolds Leopard Company continuously pushing forward, slaughtering all the Greenskins in their path, doing a great job defending their temple, backed up by the Templar of Myrmidia. The Broken Tusk mob are moving up on this side, and I'm going to retreat my noble retinue and allow my Order of the Holy Spear to charge in. And a frontal charge directly into the Broken Tusk mob. Both of these cavalry units have a bonus versus large. It'll be very interesting to see how this goes, but that was a good charge for me there, and we'll shift back over to that very soon. But first, let's take a quick look. Al-Mukhtar's Desert Dogs, killing off some spiderlings that were summoned by the Arachnarok Queen on top of these cannon crews. And the Desert Dogs, there's a spell getting cast here. What could that be? Well, it's a Greenskins. And remember, Wurrzag is on the field. That's a foot of Gork, and that is going to go directly on top of the Dogs of War mercenaries. And Al-Mukhtar's cavalry are going to get stomped into the ground. Like a human being stepping on an ant colony, these Al-Mukhtar Desert Dogs are going to get pancaked into the ground. And that is going to be brutal. Look at that. Half of the unit falling there. Literally half of them dead in a single foot of Gork. Would have been even better if they were a heavy cavalry unit. Al-Mukhtar Desert Dogs are light cavalry, and it works better against more heavier mass units. But damn, that was literally half the unit just dead in 1 foot of Gork. Very nice there from Benny MCL. And now coming in for a rear charge. Noble retinue perfectly flanking around and getting a beautiful rear charge off into the Broken Tusk mob. And that is how you want to micro your cavalry. That is the dream right there, to get a perfect sandwich on the Greenskin Cav, and they're just going to completely shatter after that. There will be none of them left after that round of combat. Beautiful hammer and anvil there from the two cavalry units, working perfectly in concert with each other. But with that said, the Greenskins are still pushing inexorably forward. The Ragnarok Queen going for the Knights Encarmine, who would be crazy to stick around. Don't think they're going to want to. Oh, but she's catching up. And maybe going to drop a model or two before they finally manage to escape. The Border Princes, Al-Mukhtar's Desert Dogs, also charging in now, surrounding the Ragnarok Queen. But they really don't want to stick in there for too long. She is armor piercing and a ridiculous amount of HP and armor. This Volan's Venators also, they just don't want to be dealing with her in close combat. But we've got some more Knight Militia and other cavalry units chilling by the temple for now, and the Dogs of War are pulling their troops back from the breach on the other side. The Greenskins have succeeded in pushing through and will be looking to run past the temple and perhaps assault the final hill in the back of the city. Big Guns and Savage Orcs, Orc Boys as well, cycling through. Tons of Greenskins still left on the field. the Dogs of War did manage to keep a decent amount of their troops alive. This flank is lost as well. Pavis Crossman getting cut down, and the Templar of Mermidia pretty much by himself at this point. Not mounted with his Holy Spear, engaging these Black Orcs, completely surrounded. Should be able to kill some of them, but not really where he wants to be either. He doesn't have AoE attacks, I don't think. Oh, nice kill there. Chop off his arm with a spear. That is an impressive sight, and he's going to have to just make his last stand and hopefully survive, take as many as he can down with him. Organ guns firing into the Arachnarok Queen. Lots of troops breaking, and the Greenskins have also pushed through on this side as well. My Volan's Venators waiting on the wings, waiting for a time when they're needed. They might be needed very soon on the open plain. They're going to be very useful, powerful heavy cavalry, great charge, great melee attack. Those Black Orcs are super bloodied and are looking to go up the hilltop and engage the defenders up there. The remnants of Al Mukhtar as their dogs getting slaughtered by some Boarboy Big Guns and some Squig Herd, and they are going to shatter. Not a good engagement for them. They're really not designed to be taking on heavy cavalry. You really want to be using them more in a support role to kill skirmishers or cannon crews. Really don't want to be engaging heavy cavalry from the front. Grimgor Ironhide surrounded by Knights Encarmine getting knocked to the ground here. They should be able to do well versus him because they do have a bonus versus large. Don't believe they have armor piercing though, so killing Grimgor will be tough. Foot of Gork up top on the marksman of Miragliano. Gonna actually kill not a single model. That was not a particularly good use of the Foot of Gork because skirmishers are low mass units and they're not cavalry. Foot of Gork is much better against cavalry who can't get knocked down to the ground. Any unit that's low mass that can get knocked down to the ground, just not going to be a good target for him whatsoever. And the Dogs of War are encircling Grimgor here, who is caught out. This could be a big blow to the Greenskin army if he goes down here. Arachnarok Queen coming in to reinforce, hopefully trying to save her Greenskin leader. And the Knight Militia are going to engage her, not where they want to be. Her armor piercing is going to be so deadly in this combat. Doubt they'll be able to take her down. They do have her surrounded. They are trying their best to cut her to pieces. Very brave of them. I know I would not personally want to be fighting a gigantic spider. I am a little bit arachnophobic. That'd be a very, very scary thing for me. I mean, let's be honest. I wouldn't want to be fighting anything anyway. Like a night goblin would still horrify me. Like, just imagine a little mushroom dude with a big dagger and a wicked grin on his face. That's scary as hell. That guy just got destroyed. I have no idea who that was. He just got blown in half by an organ gun. But yeah, a big spider, that's got to be like #1 on my list of things that's a big hell no for me. Over here, we've got Volan's Venators charging into the Doomdiver catapults, who could have done a lot of damage to the defenders up on the hill, but they are dead now. Nothing left to defend them in the background, and the Volan's Venators are going to have a great opportunity to kill and run down these crew, slaughtering them with those lance charges. Very good move there. And then we have more Squig Herd, Black Orcs, and Orc Boys moving up, ready to engage the defenders on the last hilltop. Those Black Orcs are so beaten up, though. Look at that. They're just covered in blood. I don't know if they're going to be able to do much in melee here. Even if they do make it in before routing, that's going to be really tough for them. Knights of Origo are still up top. Lots of the marksmen and the Brigades' besiegers are firing in from the hilltop here into the attackers below. You see the Greenskins pouring through past the temple now, and my cavalry is still trying to make an impact here. But the Crimson Killers are a great unit. They can take a cav charge in the face, be okay with it, and then with their armor piercing and AoE attacks, make those knights very sad, who are dying in droves at this point. I need to pull them out. But the Leopard Company have been surrounded, cut off, and destroyed. I don't know if there are any of them left now. An entire regiment of renown dead here at the battle for Luccini. Grimgor still completely surrounded. Foot of Gork on all of that blob. Oh my god. Look at that. That was fantastic. The bait with Grimgor and then the Foot of Gork on top of everything that's swarming him. That was so much damage. Oh my lord. Wow. That was a big blob of Tilean defenders and Border Prince units and Dogs of War mercenaries that just got destroyed. There was 110 kills in a single Foot of Gork. Man, that sent a lot of the Tilean defenders running for the hills, and I don't blame them. They just got squashed. Holy crap. Okay, so the remnants, the Knights of Origo and the Volan's Venators who did manage to survive that, are now pulling up to the top of the hill. Those Knight Militia getting slaughtered by the Giant as they run past. Man, that was a really good move from the Greenskins there. But we do have more cavalry units ready to cycle into combat, get some charges downhill. The Ragnarok Queen is in the middle of all of this, though, going for the Merchant Prince. The Merchant Prince of Tilea, who's leading his army, and he is now facing down the Ragnarok Queen with the Knights of Origo. He's going to get Effigy of Degit and a Ragnarok Queen on top of him at once. This is a lot of HP damage. I can't imagine he's going to be able to stick around for too much longer of this, but do have the Marksman of Baragliano and the Brigantes Besiegers firing in on the Queen. And Shelob is taking a lot of damage. Knights of Origo in there as well. Knights Encarmine coming in to reinforce. Lot of HP damage being done to her. She has almost no HP left. She's definitely going to book it very soon. Wavering at the moment. Could break with 1 or 2 more volleys. That was crazy, though. Man, that Foot of Gork is one of the best I've seen in a while. We got another Ragnarok Queen. We've got 2 of them on the field. And she's chasing down some of these Knights and Pikemen. Leopolds Leopard Company, I guess the remnants of those that were at the temple tried to make it back. Doesn't look like they will. Might shatter to her. She is running up top. Doesn't want to stick around for too much longer. Almost no HP left. Greenskins will want to hold on to her. I bet she will rally, but they will want to make sure she does not die and save her for the late game, which we're getting into now. Savage Orc Archers moving up the hills. More Savage Orcs getting ready to wade into melee. Lot of Savage Orcs pouring up top. Another Ragnarok. This time just a regular Ragnarok Spider. More Orc Boys and Big Guns. Greenskins from all over the city are now converging on this final defense. The hilltop in the back of Luccini. Can the Tilean defenders and the Dogs of War weather the storm? Can they hold back the tide of Greenskins that are surging to overwhelm them? Knights Encarmine at the top of this choke point with their bonus versus infantry doing a lot of damage. And the Greenskin Horde is a bit sandwiched right now. Knights Encarmine at the top of the hill. Volan's Venators at the bottom. Hammer and anviling them. Pretty nice cavalry micro here. But as I say that, Volan's Venators have gotten tied down. They should already be out of combat. The Ragnarok is starting to bash on them. They need to be cycle charging, trying to pull out now. And I think, yeah, they just got terrified. They're routing. They should come back. It's a mostly full strength unit. But they are routing at the moment, and they're going to get terrified directly into another Ragnarok. But it looks like they might be, yeah, they're about to rally here. Shaken, yep, they have rallied, and now they're attacking the Ragnarok Queen. This is not where she wanted to be. She has no reinforcements, no backup right now. And with the Volan's Venators lancing her in the abdomen, stabbing her over and over again, looks like she is going to rout here, and she just shattered. That was big. Ragnarok Queen leaving the field will no longer be a threat. Pretty important stuff right there. But the Greenskin Horde is still pushing forwards with Wurrzag. Another Ragnarok pushing up the hill now. Knights Encarmine have broken. And the Al-Qatani Fellowship at the top of the hill. And an organ gun waiting with open arms. Come here, Greenskins. Come, give us a hug. Enjoy the tips of our pikes. Just the tip. Just the tip. The Greenskins are going to be forced to charge directly into this pike wall. That is going to be a tough fight for them. They're not in a great spot right now. This choke point is very difficult to attack. Only the one angle up this side. There's, of course, the other side of the hill where attackers could ascend as well. Oh, man, these Savage Orcs are completely unsupported. Volan's Venators charging in from the rear, pancaking them with a rear charge. Beautiful. They're going to kill so many Savage Orcs here. Those are just archers who cannot deal with the heavy cavalry that are the Volan's Venators. And the Ragnarok has moved into melee, engaging these pikes, and she is already wavering. Savage Orcs pouring up the choke point. Another one of the Ragnarok Queens is routing. That one just routed. Wurrzag in melee with Spleen Rippa, the boar. And he will anchor this line and keep them in melee for a while. The Giant is beginning his long march up the hill. Knights of Origo waiting to receive his charge. And the Orc Shaman is there as well. The Tilean defenders on this hilltop so far are definitely holding the line. Wurrzag is wavering. The Volan's Venators are chasing off a lot of these range units, making sure they don't come back. Kind of a weak charge there. They just completely stopped. I'm not sure what the deal with that was. But those Savage Orcs, if they aren't run down, will come back to the fight. Marksman of Miragliano and the Braganza's besiegers firing into this choke point, while the Al-Qatani Fellowship are doing a great job holding the line here against overwhelming odds. The Orc boys and the Savage Orcs pouring into the breach, and lots of wavering. But remember that wavering isn't the biggest deal for the Greenskins. This happens all the time. They'll waver, they'll waver, they'll waver, they'll rout, and then they'll just cycle back into combat continuously over and over again. The Giant into combat with the Knights of Urgo holding the line here, and the Crossbowmen firing into the Giant. Oh, there's so much fire going into that Giant right now. He's taking a ton of HP damage, down to about 600 HP. Only a couple more volleys might be enough to bring him down. There he is. There he goes. The Giant is down. That's a big kill as well. And the Greenskins are routing. There's a huge mass rout. Volan's Venators causing that. And if they could somehow run down all these attackers, then this will certainly be going in the Telean defenders' way. But that is a lot of units. Remember that running down routing units in Total War Warhammer is not like it is in Medieval 2. It's not one hit, one kill. You have to do HP damage, which takes a long time for a even heavy cavalry unit to do against routing units. And there are a lot of them. Big guns up here, anchored by the Black Orcs. Organ guns getting ready to fire in as well. If they can fire into this blob, that would be massive. Oh, the Doom Divers firing into the crossbows who are bunched up, taking a ton of damage. Oh my god. That was a brutal shot right there. Doom Divers doing a lot of damage to the Marksmen and Braganza's besiegers. The Paymaster and the Merchant Prince are still alive, still holding the line here. And this is where things get really dangerous for the defenders. This is something that's happened to me multiple times in multiplayer battles. The balance bar is even, but you see a bunch of Greenskins routing and you say to yourself, oh, I've got this. I'm going to take my foot off the gas pedal. The problem with that is the Greenskins do come back. They do come back into combat, and when they do, they come back with a vengeance and they can overwhelm you. So we have to keep our foot on the gas and make sure all these routing units don't come back, because if they do, they could be enough to just overwhelm what we have left. But these Knights of Urgo holding the line against Black Orcs very well. Doubt they'll be able to win that combat, but they should be able to hold the line and maybe make them rout. We'll see soon enough. Organ guns not going to be able to fire in. There's no real line of sight. They'd have to friendly fire the crap out of their own troops, and one of those Knights of Urgo just got a nice backstab on one of the Black Orcs there. Cavalry is doing a good job here. The Greenskins are starting to come back, though. They are amassing again on this slope, ready to charge in against the Al-Qatani Fellowship, who has held the line so well there. The Paymaster getting some shots in on the Orc and Goblin Shamans. And the Orc Shaman actually going to kill a Telean defender himself. Black Orcs are routing. Things are starting to look bad for the Greenskins. Lot of ranged firepower still on the field, but there is almost nothing left for the Telean defenders. Just a couple of organ guns, a couple of crossbow units, the Al-Qatani Fellowship, and the remnants of the Knights of Urgo. Telean captain coming back to defend his homeland. Don't know if he'll be able to make it into combat. He is slow as hell. I don't even know why he's over there. And the Al-Qatani Fellowship still standing strong, ready to receive the charge. Savage Orcs cycling in. Oh, that archer fire is going to do so much damage to them. They're unarmored, slamming into the flank. Nice flanking charge there, but not really followed up by anything. They are going to get cut to pieces by themselves. Not enough of them to stick around, and yep, they're going to break almost instantly after getting back into combat. Knights of Urgo covered in the blood of the Black Orcs. And yes, at this point, I think it's safe to say the Telean defenders have successfully pushed back the Greenskin horde. Noble retinue running down the remnants of these troops, but there is going to be one last great moment here as the Black Orcs look to ascend the other hilltop. Marksman of Miragliano, Braganza's besiegers still firing in. They've been firing this whole time, done so much damage to the Greenskin attackers, but here comes the Black Orcs. Let's go into double fast forward real quick. See the remnants of the Greenskins charging into the Al-Qatani Fellowship, and they will ascend the hill one last time into the withering fire of organ guns. And you don't get to see organ guns utilized very often, but these custom maps have really opened it up for things like the flame cannon, for the organ guns to be much more useful than in the vanilla siege maps, and they are going to tear into these Black Orcs and big guns as they ascend. One final shot before they close into melee. Oh man, that was awesome. cutting a swath of destruction through them. Knights of Urgo following it up with a charge. That reminds me of the end of, I think the movie was Glory. It's a Civil War movie about a black regiment that just charges around the corner at like Fort, it wasn't Sumner, it was another fort. And they just get completely obliterated by a cannon volley as they turn the corner. And that's the end of the movie. And that was exactly what that looked like right there. Charge up the hill, right into the face of organ gun fire. That was an awesome battle. Don't get to see the Dogs of War or Tilea used very often. And it was so much fun to use these mods by, I believe it's Kataf, who created both mods, the Southern Realms mod and the Dogs of War Regiments of Renown mod. And together, they made for a really epic, really entertaining replay. That siege, or the defense there, where we retreated all of our troops to, that last hill, was so much fun to defend against waves and waves of greenskin hordes. And by the end of it, we had almost nothing left. I think only a few hundred didn't rout. The rest were shattered or dead. Really enjoyable battle. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.